The rain comes down in sheets, pounding the metal roof of the ranger station like war drums. A storm front has rolled in hard over the sanctuary, cutting visibility to near zero. Lightning flashes, turning the treetops into ghostly silhouettes. Most of the animals have taken shelter. Most. A silent alert pings on the perimeter monitor. Motion near the old west gate. Odd. That sector is restricted, uninhabited. No gorillas are supposed to be there. Ranger Celeste wipes the fog from the screen. Is that a child? At first they think it's a mistake, a blur on a camera lens, but when they zoom in, the grainy image becomes horrifyingly clear. A small boy, maybe 5 years old, barefoot, soaked to the bone, curled beneath a tree. His tiny frame trembles with every gust of wind. And he's not alone. Towering over him, motionless, wide-shouldered, black as shadow, is a gorilla. Not one from the active troop. This one's a silverback, solitary, massive, and crouched like a statue, one enormous arm wrapped around the child as if guarding him from the storm. For 5 full seconds, no one speaks. Then the radios light up. Send a team. Do not engage. Whatever you do, don't startle the gorilla. 3 rangers deploy immediately, slipping through the rain with rifles slung and hearts hammering. As they crest the ridge near the tree line, the scene unfolds in front of them. No longer a camera glitch. It's real. Unbelievably real. The gorilla sits, hunched slightly, eyes tracking the movement of the rangers but never leaving the boy. Water beads off his fur like armor. The boy is still crying, but softer now. Exhausted sobs. The kind that come when the body runs out of tears. One ranger lifts a tranquilizer gun. Don't, Celeste hisses into his earpiece from base. He's not aggressive. Look at his posture. And she's right. The gorilla isn't posturing, isn't threatening. He isn't caged, but he's made himself a cage around the child. The lead ranger tries calling out softly, "Hey, little one, it's okay. We're here to help." The boy doesn't respond, just buries his face in the gorilla's chest like it's the only place in the world that feels safe. Then, movement. The silverback turns his head, not fast, not sudden, controlled, measured. He looks directly at the ranger who spoke. His eyes are deep, too deep, like he's seen something they haven't yet begun to understand. The ranger lowers his gaze. He's protecting him, he murmurs. No, Celeste says, still watching from the screen. He's guarding him. Thunder rumbles again. The boy lets out one more weak cry, and the gorilla responds, not with a growl, with a sound so low it's barely audible, a hum, almost like a lullaby. And that's when it clicks. Something about this is wrong, and something about it is right. But no one, not yet, has asked the only question that matters. How did the child get into the enclosure in the first place? Darkness falls hard over the sanctuary, and with it the storm deepens. Rain batters the jungle floor like warning drums from the sky. But the scene near the old west gate doesn't shift. The child is still nestled against the massive silverback. The gorilla's frame, soaked and unmoving, forms a wall between the boy and the world. No one has dared get close. Inside the ranger station, tension hangs thick. Celeste and the others comb through camera feeds, trying to retrace the moment. But there's nothing. No footage of the boy entering, no breach in the gates. It's like he just appeared. Outside, the ranger team huddles beneath a tarp, soaked and stunned. We can't just leave him there, one mutters. He'll freeze. And if we spook the gorilla, another replies, he won't have a chance. They all look toward Tomas, the oldest among them. He knows the gorilla, Koba, a name spoken with both reverence and caution. Koba has lived in this sanctuary for years, a solitary male, lost his mate in a transfer accident, lost his infant to illness. Since then, he's stayed distant, watchful, quiet. But no one has ever seen him like this. Tomas adjusts his collar, eyes fixed on the ridge. He's not posturing, he's mourning. Celeste's voice crackles through the radio. Explain. He lost his baby 3 months ago. That child's cries. I think it's triggered something. Not violence. Memory dot. The team falls silent. Back at the tree line, the gorilla gently adjusts his position. The boy stirs but doesn't cry. He looks up, blinking through rain, and reaches out, tiny fingers brushing the gorilla's chest. And Koba hums again. Not a growl, not dominance. A low, vibrating sound that rolls from deep within his chest. A calming rhythm, a parent's sound. One of the rangers swears under his breath. He thinks it's his. Celeste watches from her screen, hand covering her mouth. This is beyond instinct, she says quietly. This is grief trying to heal itself. Tomas steps forward alone, hands out, low voice steady. Koba, he says softly. It's okay, old friend, we see you. The gorilla lifts his head, his eyes lock with Tomas. In that moment, no one breathes. A flash of lightning cuts through the dark, illuminating the scene. The small child curled into the chest of something wild, something ancient, something wronged, and something still willing to love. But love doesn't mean safety, and time is running out. We need to move him before morning, Celeste warns through the radio. The child could be hypothermic, and if we lose visibility, she doesn't finish. She doesn't have to. The plan forms, a blanket soaked in familiar scent, food lures, distance, no force, no sedation. Koba must decide. Back at the tree line, the gorilla's eyes stay fixed, not on the food, not on the threat, on the child. Because Koba isn't guarding territory, he's guarding something he's already lost once, and this time, he won't let it be taken from him again. The storm breaks before dawn, but the tension does not. The air is thick with the smell of wet earth and something heavier, fear. The child is still alive, still under the protection of Koba, still unreachable. Celeste hasn't slept. Neither has Tomas. While the field team waits in the shadows, the rest of the rangers are in the control room, scrubbing hours of footage, combing through data, desperate for answers. And then they find it. 2:17 a.m. A white truck idles just beyond the service gate. It doesn't enter. Instead, someone steps out, a figure in a dark raincoat. They carry something in their arms, small, wrapped in a blanket. The camera's resolution is grainy, but it's enough. They approach the edge of the enclosure and leave the child inside. No note, no hesitation. They slip back into the truck. It drives off without headlights. Gasps fill the room. This wasn't an accident. Someone left him there. Celeste's voice trembles. But why? Who would? An alert pings on another screen. Ranger identification software links the license plate to a known suspect, Yoram Tendo, a name that stings. He was once a handler, fired 3 years ago, accused of selling animal trafficking data, never proven until now. Celeste leans in. He used the boy. The child wasn't abandoned out of desperation. He was bait. Tomas's voice is low, bitter. Koba's grief made him unpredictable. They were trying to provoke an attack, record it, sell the footage. A rogue gorilla attacking a child would justify anything. Justify removal, transfer, sale, or worse. It wasn't just the child in danger, it was Koba too. Out in the clearing, Koba sits still. He hasn't moved in hours except to adjust the child gently each time he shivered. The boy no longer cries. He lies against the gorilla's chest, eyes open, silent. One ranger whispers, "He doesn't even look scared anymore." And that's what breaks Tomas. He slings off his vest, sets down his tranquilizer, and steps out into the clearing. No plan, no sedative, no backup, just faith. "Koba," he says softly, walking slow. "You remember me. You know I won't hurt him." The silverback shifts slightly. His breathing is even, his eyes alert. "I know what they did," Tomas continues, "but he's not part of that. He's just a boy. Let us help him." For the first time, Koba looks down, not at Tomas, but at the child. The boy is watching him too. Then he lifts his hand. Tiny fingers press against fur. Koba grunts, low, sad. And then, slowly, he moves, not far, just enough. Tomas freezes. Inches matter. But he sees the truth in Koba's eyes. The gorilla is not surrendering the child. He's entrusting him, and trust in this jungle is the rarest thing of all. Every second stretches as Tomas steps forward. No one dares breathe through the radio. Celeste has her hand hovering over the emergency call switch. If this goes wrong, if Koba panics, they won't get a second chance. Tomas crouches low. Rainwater drips from leaves overhead, pooling on the forest floor. He doesn't reach out, doesn't speak again. He just waits. Koba watches. His breath is audible now, measured but heavy. The silverback shifts slightly, eyes darting between Tomas and the boy. Then, something astonishing happens. The boy turns toward Tomas, his face still streaked with tears, still pale from cold, but calm. His lips part. One word, barely louder than the rain. Safe. Tomas's throat tightens. That word wasn't taught. It was felt. The boy leans forward gently, and Koba lets him go. No violence, no protest, just one long exhale from the gorilla as his arm drops to the ground. Tomas scoops the child into his arms, nodding once toward Koba. No words. Just a bond acknowledged. The ranger turns and walks slowly back through the clearing. As soon as they cross the tree line, chaos returns. Medics rush in, blankets, oxygen, heat pads. But all the boy says, over and over, is safe. Nothing else. Inside the command room, Celeste stands frozen. Her hands tremble, but her voice is steady. Secure the footage and lock down every gate. Because now they have proof, not just of an abandoned child, not just of corruption, but of something much more dangerous to the world outside. That this gorilla made a choice. And that choice wasn't primal, it was moral. The boy is rushed into emergency care. He has minor injuries, exposure, but no lasting damage. When asked what happened, he simply says, "He held me." A pause. And he sang. The rangers don't try to explain, they don't need to. Later that night, Tomas returns to the clearing alone. Koba is still there, in the same spot, watching, not afraid, not angry, just present. Tomas sits down a few meters away, the way he did years ago, before Koba lost everything. He doesn't say much, just 5 quiet words. "I knew you still remembered." And in the silence, the two sit, 2 survivors, 1 story, and a truth no one would ever fully understand. Weeks pass. The boy, now identified as Noah, recovers quickly. He speaks more each day, but only when asked. Mostly he draws, and every sketch is the same. A gorilla, larger than life, arms outstretched, eyes calm. "He never hurt me," he tells the child psychologist. "He held me like my mom used to." Investigators confirm the worst. Yoram Tendo fled the country. An arrest warrant is issued. The sanctuary's board launches a full inquiry. But the rangers already know the truth. They were nearly part of a tragedy designed to destroy the very creature they've sworn to protect. Koba remains in the sanctuary, unchanged in territory, but different somehow, more alert, more aware, less isolated. He still keeps to himself, but when rangers walk by, he doesn't retreat. One afternoon, Tomas brings a new blanket to the enclosure, soft, blue, and worn at the edges. He leaves it near a favorite resting spot. Koba approaches, sniffs, and sits. He doesn't touch the blanket, just stays near it every day. It becomes part of his space, part of his grief, and, in time, part of his healing. The story spreads, first inside the sanctuary, then to the media. But it's not the headlines that matter, it's the letters, from children, from mothers, from people who've never met a gorilla but swear they now feel connected. Donations surge, security is improved, and more importantly, understanding grows. The final scene is simple. A year later, a small boy walks carefully to the visitor platform. In his hands, a drawing of a gorilla holding a child. Noah. He stops at the rail. Koba rises from a patch of grass and slowly approaches. No glass, no barriers, just open air and quiet trust. Noah lifts the drawing, presses it to his chest. Koba tilts his head, then one deep grunt. The same sound from the stormy night. And Noah smiles for the first time in months. Not every hero wears a badge. Some beat their chest, not their enemies. Some guard the forest in silence, with nothing but instinct, memory, and the will to protect. In the heart of a storm, a gorilla didn't attack. He didn't flee. He stayed, with a child not his own, and a pain only he could understand. Behind him stood those who chose empathy over fear, truth over violence. This wasn't just a rescue. It was a reminder that even the wild grieves, even the voiceless remember. And sometimes the most human thing we'll ever witness comes from something not human at all. If this story moved you, share it. Help us spread the power of compassion and courage. Like this video to show your support. Subscribe to follow more stories that matter. And comment below to honor the real guardians of the wild.